The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome to Are You Afraid Cult, the unofficial American Horror Story Cult podcast, a PapiChuloRadio.com original series. Papi Chulo Radio, pop culture on demand. Today is Wednesday, November 1st, 2017, and I am your host, Jeffrey Aruz. During this podcast, we're going to recap, review, and dissect the latest episode of the FX series, American Horror Story Cult. Please welcome my co-hosts, Madison Fitzpatrick.
Hello, everyone.
And Mark Estes.
Hello.
All right, let's get into it. Let's jump into our recap of Season 7, Episode 9, which was titled Drink the Kool-Aid and aired October 31st, 2017, Halloween night. Here's the official synopsis of the episode. Kai declares his intention to run for Senate. Cult members drink presumably poisoned Kool-Aid to test their loyalty. So I want to get everyone's initial reaction to the episode. And let's start off with Mark.
I was sitting there watching the episode, and then when they started talking about the Heaven's Gate cult, and I blinked because I was like, they didn't mention talking about that cult leader. I'm like, then I blinked again. I said, that's Evan Peters. Oh my God. Then they went to Jim Jones, in Jonestown, and I was like, that's it. Give this motherfucker an Emmy already. Give it to, because this episode's going to be stupid crazy. I was like, whew, and it just kept getting better and better and better and better. And then you find out that Angela Bassett sat here and directed this episode. I was like, just excellence all around. Everybody needs a goddamn Emmy tonight. I loved this episode. Like, I loved it to death. Then I sat there last night in my little drunken stupor of finishing the episode, not actual drunk and stupor, but and then certain things started inching into my brain. I was like, oh, you ruined some good scenes. Random thoughts, but I get to that in a few minutes though. But overall, it was a damn good episode.
All right. So it brought back like flashbacks for you for when you were a Branch Davidian? Oh, okay. Just double checking.
That scared the shit out of me though. No, because Heaven's Gate cult scared the shit out of me when it happened. It scared me because I was like they were just like, who? How can somebody get these people to do this shit? You know. And then even when I learned about Jim Jones, that also scared me. But I get into all that when we get to the episode, explaining why this kind of like shook my nerve a little bit. But
all right, Madison Fitzpatrick, were your nerves shook as well?
I was so impressed with this episode. Everything that was going on, it was just such high intensity. And like drinking the Kool-Aid and everything with Allie, I was super shocked. And it's like, yes, finally, some things are actually happening instead of just all this talk and, you know, oh, I'm upset with you and you're upset with me. It's like stuff was happening and it was awesome.
I co-sign with both of you. Fierce Allie is my spirit animal. I mean, she is fantastic. Like Sarah Paulson, the way that she just flipped the script on the character is amazing. Evan Peters, I mean, I think we say it almost in every single episode, is just a revelation this season after not really getting that much to do in the previous seasons. Like, they are working his ass off, and he's doing an amazing job. The storyline was really good. Beverly motherfucking Hope. That's all I'm going to say about her right now. And The two twists in this episode, well, technically, I guess there were three twists if you count the Kool-Aid as well. So the three sort of twists and turns in the episode were fantastic, and I'm looking forward to chatting with both of you about it. So before we get into a thorough recap of the latest episode of American Horror Story Cult, here's our announcer with a few special announcements.
Follow Poppy Chula Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Poppy Chula Radio. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@poppychularadio.com. Are you interested in joining the Poppy Chula Radio team as an on-air personality? Email talent@poppychularadio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Poppy Chula Radio programs by visiting poppychularadio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through Apple Podcasts and Google Play. Just search for Are You Afraid? Cult and subscribe.
Thanks, announcer. All right, let's get into it. Let's start off with the very beginning of the episode, in which we see, or I should say, in which we hear Kai sort of like narrating the history of several cults and their leaders. And so we see what appears to be sort of like documentary footage of the Heaven's Gate, Branch Davidian, and People's Temple cults. And we see Evan Peters portraying the leaders of each cult. And basically what Kai is doing is he's trying to compare these cults to a political movement, in particular, like their own political movement. And some of his bros are a little bit worried about, you know, the cause and, like, you know, what type of toll it will take on them. But Kai ends up saying something to the gist of, you know, that loyalty and courage will be required from all of them for their next step. And the next step will be announced at the following city council meeting. So let's pause right here and let's discuss the opening scene. Let's talk about Evan Peters as all these cult leaders and how Kai used, or I should say maybe even manipulated, the stories of these cults to his advantage to sort of like prove to his bros that intense incredible loyalty is needed to be able to move their agenda forward. And since it already sounded like Mark had a lot to say about this, Mark, you can go first.
You mean about the first two cults?
Yeah, when they showed all the
Oh,
footage of the different cults.
yeah. Okay. I was a kid when the Heaven's Gate cult thing. I can't remember. I was, 10. All I know is I was pretty young. And you see this breaking news of them finding this house of people who all died in their sleep. And that bothered me for like several days because I even had nightmares that my family was in there because that's how crazy it was, because I was just trying to grasp the concept of how did like all these people get together and decide to kill themselves because a comet came and this man told them to. And I kept asking, like, where's the guy who told them to do this? Is he still running around, and they didn't, it took me long because, I didn't have access to like news articles and stuff like that at that time to read about that type of stuff. So it scared me. Then I think there was either a documentary or a docu-film about Jim Jones, and like Kai said in the episode, they called it Drink the Kool-Aid. And they was talking about, and somebody told me, one of the family members told me about the Jim Jones incident in Jonestown. And I'm thinking, like, all these people picked up their everyday lives and gave their faith to this man who's going to promise them this whole new, and then they all died. They all died because he made them drink Kool-Aid. Like, who refuses a cup of Kool-Aid? You know what I'm saying? And just again, I had nightmares. Like you go to this service, this church sermon, and this man's passing out Kool-Aid. You as a kid is not gonna be like, okay, what's in the Kool-Aid? You know what I'm saying? You just go ahead and drink it because it's Kool-Aid. So I'm thinking like all these kids and these people died because this man told them to, and it just unnerved me. And one last thing, because some guy near here, when Y2K was all of buzz in 1999, a guy that my dad worked with belonged to some type of church where they were going to actually take their families and board themselves up into the church until after the all the shit hit the fan. And the guy sold his possessions and everything, got his family, and they all went to this church and boarded up themselves inside the church. And I was like, shit, this it's like, how can people be so gullible? And so when you look at when Kai's telling them all this stuff, and then they pan from, they smash cut from the Jim Jones thing to the basement that Kai's in with all these grown ass men in these onesie outfits or these thermal outfits like little boys eating up everything he's telling them. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that is scary as fuck. And I don't know. It kind of like is one of the reasons why I'm not a religious person to this day. It's because the stuff that Kai was spouting, like, if I told you to do this, would you do it? If I told you to cut, well, if you told me to cut my dick off, I'll do it. I'm like, it's like, what reward are you getting out of it? It just scared the bejesus out of me when Heaven's Gate, Jim Jones, the Y2K incident, and just seeing all these people just be so readily gullible, so gullible and ready to just give their lives up on a hunch. You know what I'm saying? No, not even a hunch, but just because somebody told them to. It's scary. So that's what I got with it from it last night, and I think when I saw that, it kind of set the tone for the episode because I noticed that none of the girls were down there, and I kind of got more respect for the four women in the cult left the cult at the time. Beverly, Allie, Ivy, even, and Winter, because I'm like, it's like again, Ryan Murphy's trying to say women are more stronger than that, or more strong than that. But then again, I don't know. I don't know. It seems kind of telling that there's no male standing up against them, except for one. But we get in a minute, and I don't know. It just unnerved me. It makes my skin crawl. For people to be out there feeding and preying on the the weak-minded, because you take that, you look at the Trump base, and how people are willing to sit there and do anything this man says because they are so set in the belief that they have no power here in America no more, and it's creepy.
Yeah. Madison, what about you? What'd you think of the opening of the show?
Um, at first, like I really liked it because we were learning about different cults, right? And different, other people who have done this in real life. And I was actually a little annoyed when I saw Evan Peters like as these people, only because I was like, okay, what's real and what's like reenactment? And I was hoping to actually see like the real stuff. I think that would have probably been cooler if it wasn't a reenactment because it was like literally showing people and like like Mark saying, like it was scaring them. Like I feel they should have just shown actual footage of what was going on rather than the reenactment, because I think it would have been more real and raw instead of just like a reenactment, because they can do whatever they want, right? And like the whole Kool-Aid thing, yeah, like I learned about that when I was much younger, and I always ask my parents, but how did he get all these people to do that? Like, well, he believed in them. Like, they believed in him. And I'm like, that's dumb. like, like that saying when everybody, grows up. So if your friend's going to jump off the bridge, are you going to jump off the bridge too? Yep, apparently. Apparently like 200 people. So I thought it was cool because we were seeing other cults, but I thought it was just a little disappointing that we didn't actually see the real footage. But I respect Evan Peters for being able to act in different characters. Like, obviously that's crazy, but yeah, I just would have liked to see the real footage.
And Madison, I was kind of like that too because, like I said, it kind of fooled me because, especially with the Heaven's Gate, you know, set up, because I'm like, that looks like the actual footage of them finding walking
No,
through the
like,
house.
yeah, I was like so agreeing with you where it fooled you. Like, at first I was like, okay, this is, and I'm like, wait, no, that's Evan Peters. What? Like, I was like, whoa, like, what's real, what's fake, what's like, now I'm lost, right? I totally
Yeah,
agree with you.
yeah, because I was like, cause that's why I said I could have sworn they showed the original guy at first, and then it's like the next you blink and you go back to the guy talking, it was Evan Peters. So I'm thinking like, but then not to jump ahead, but seeing how he recounted the story of Jim Jones, and I had to tell myself maybe he sees himself. That's the reason why he retaliated. They had him as the character, as Jim Jones, as Bo or Cole, or whatever that guy name was from the Heaven's Gate Cult, was because he was probably envisioning himself as
David
those men.
Koresh
He also was David Koresh.
and Marshall Applewhite.
Marshall Applewhite is probably the guy who was the Heaven's Gate Cult. He had a
Yeah.
nickname. Was it Kai Cole? I don't know. But I forget he did it. That one messed me up too because I never saw David Koresh. I never seen an actual picture of him. So when I saw him at first, I had to sit there and blink again. It's like, oh, that's Evan Peters as well. So it's just that he played five, excuse me. He played five different people this episode and didn't miss a beat. And I was like, who do we need to petition? Do I need to go fill out some paperwork? Do we have a write-in ballot? You know what I'm saying? Do I need to go join the academy myself? I mean, half of Hollywood is getting screwed over right now anyway, so they could be opening some soon.
Oh,
So I'm just saying,
too soon.
but if too soon, but excuse me, not really, because I did burp them, excuse me. Because that's a joke between me and Jeff.
Oh my gosh.
But I always knew that stuff was going down. I was just waiting for the pendulum to drop. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought that if he does not get nominated next year, y'all, it's gonna be some shit in the water. It's gonna be some. Whoo! It's time for us to campaign hard. I don't know when the deadline is to get him a reel in, a nomination reel or something, for your consideration, something like that. But it was awesome.
Okay, so here's my question. Are we 100% sure that they didn't use some news footage? Because I feel like at least when we saw the paramedics like bringing the people out, that looked like it was news footage. Are we 100% sure?
No, I
No,
think
like, it probably
yeah,
was.
yeah.
It probably was, but the fact that they showed the real stuff and then they went back to
Yeah, Evan
like Evan
Peters.
Peters, like like that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it was so horrible what was going on. You didn't need reenactment. Like, I kind of
Yeah.
felt like there was no point in doing that, and it kind of ruined the whole realness of it. Like, this is what was going on. People did this. This is how crazy people were and how, brainwashed they were. Like, I don't think that you needed to reenact it to make it your own type thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Madison. Because like I honestly gotta think that the reason why they did that, it was like him peppering his version of events in. Because I really honestly gotta think that Kai feels as if, because he was like pretty cool, huh? And so it's like these guys did these horrible things, but it's kind of cool if you think about it. And so he's pulling from them, and they're like his idols. He kind of idolized them. So he kind of told the story, but put from a positive spin, but he put himself in it to also tell tell himself and everybody else in there that, this is what we're doing. It's a cool thing. You know what I'm saying? Because, and the reason why I say that he was envisioning himself in those cutscenes is because, in those flashbacks, himself as David Koresh, Martin Applewhite, and Jim Jones is because, and even Jesus later on, we can get to in a minute. It just goes to show you his mental break until one person sat there and said, no, bitch. That was my favorite part of the episode, but I get that in a minute.
That's too much. Well, just to continue on, I think both of you sort of covered everything about it. So just to add in, I just thought it was really fascinating, the way that they shot it, the way that it genuinely looked like it was archived footage. Evan Peters, just fantastic as the cult leaders, and very creepy to see the bros drinking the Kool-Aid already, just eating up all of Kai's words. So, moving into the episode a little bit more, so Kai at the city council meeting ends up proposing some regulation basically to censor the internet. And all data and access has to pass through Kai's private internet service. And the motion does pass, although a council member does protest it. And to be quite honest, it looked like another council member was attacked prior to the vote to make sure that he ends up voting the quote-unquote right way. And Kai also announces that he's going to be running for United States Senate the following year. And we learn that his bros have begun calling him the divine ruler. And Kai notices that the women did not show up for the city council meeting. So we'll talk about Kai in a moment. Let's move on to the ladies. So over at Allie's house, Allie starts questioning Ivy about why she joined the cult, why she did what she did. And Ivy was like, she felt out of control. She needed someone to basically make the decisions for her. Like, she was in over her head at the restaurant, this, that, or the other. And apparently Allie was like, so you needed a daddy. And then she also confesses to Allie that she hated her, or at least she thought she hated her. Maybe she hated the whole situation, that kind of thing. And Ivy ended up sort of like realizing the truth about Kai, and that's why she was planning on leaving the cult, but then Allie ended up joining, and Allie's like, well, I didn't have a choice. I need to save my family. And so Winter shows up with Oz, and Allie tells Oz that she's not going to leave him again, and that things are going to get back to normal no matter what everyone has told you. And she even gives him a Twisty the Clown comic book. And he's confused, but he seems pleased, and she sends him upstairs, and he ends up saying something like I missed you. And so Winter apologizes to Allie. Allie's like, for what? For fucking my wife? For making me go crazy? For trying to kill me? And she says that she's come to the realization that Kai doesn't care for anyone but himself, especially after he killed their brother. And so Winter says that she did some research through WikiHow on how to leave a cult. And so they have to pack lightly and they have to leave immediately. But before they can, banging on the door, it's the bros. The bros escort them all, including Oz, to an emergency meeting in their basement lair. So let's pause right here and let's discuss Allie, Ivy, Winter. Madison?
I was surprised that Ivy was so distraught and so open to why she was bawling. And I was thinking you hated Allie so much before in like all these episodes. And now like you're basically asking her for your forgiveness and like all this stuff. And I was like, what happened to that, strong person who was trying to make her wife crazy and all this stuff and like killing people? It just, to me, it was kind of a little not her character, I guess. But I understand that she just realized that Kai is actually crazy and she's probably going to get killed at some point. But to me, it was like, it was kind of off. And I understand that they're kind of switching roles, like her, like Ivy and Allie, right? One's the stronger one now and one's the weaker one. But it was just a little weird. And then Winter doesn't even have a place. Like, she needs to just leave because how do you even apologize for everything? I don't know. I just feel like everything that they've done, no one can forgive. And I think that's why things further in the episode happened. So, yeah, I just thought it was really weird just how people were acting because it was so not like them. I don't know. But I liked Allie, obviously.
Mark, what about you?
I have to take it back to the council meeting, and because this ties into what we're talking about now. This is what I was saying. Like, I was so here for this episode until like those thoughts crept into my head last night, because this is the reason. This is the first thought that crept in to kind of like made me like, oh damn it! But the council meeting and the attack on the councilman and the fact that these bastards just barged their ass into Allie and Ivy's home. Detective Samuels is no longer there to back their asses up. Now, most of these grunts we heard came from all across the country. So, who's on the force that can sit there and prevent them from like you see what I'm saying? And so,
Well, remember, it was approved that they could be a sort of what do you call it? Like a not
Like
a
a
police
task force
force,
or like
like a task force.
security.
Yeah.
yeah, but even still, it seems to me that it still should have been some sort of like they're a task force, but they're not a part of the. I guess what I'm trying to say is that who on the force allowed it? It kind of stretches your. It took me out of the episode after I watched it again, and I was like, it's just because I can't see that happening. You know what I'm saying? Without like somebody saying something, because I don't know. It bothers me. It bothered me grandly because I felt like they can't do anything. The remaining same characters, they can't do anything. But I'm like, this has been something. This has been okay if it's like in a small town, but this isn't like a suburb of a city. You know what I'm saying? So somebody should be like raising Cain or something like that. There's guys walking around with these uniforms. Like CNN should have been there trying to investigate. Like, what's going on with this? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It just seems like it seems a little bit far fetched. But this is American Horror Story. I mean, they were having a threesome, listen to I Swear, trying to conceive a Messiah baby. So with a gay man and two siblings. So anyway, with Allie, Ivy, and Winter, I love the fact that Allie pretty much took control of that entire scene. You know what I'm saying? And I was over there just whimpering like a little child who was caught with his hands in a cookie jar. But I'm like, Ivy could have just. It's kind of like what Madison said. They weren't acting. They weren't acting on their um their strengths. If you get what I'm trying to say, Ivy should have been just like she was for Winter. Like, look, this is all because of you. The reason why I'm doing this is because of you. She could have pushed back with that. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it would have affected the new Allie. It would not have. But that could have been a good stance. Be like, this is all because of you. She could have sat there and showed her, when you brought it, you're buying Tiffany gifts and we're bleeding money. Were insufferable. All that. It could have been it was a good scene, don't get me wrong, but it could have been even more charged if they just sat there and just been like going at it like, rah, 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 but it was just
This
more
isn't
along the lines
Dynasty.
of, no, it could use a little dynasty. Everything could use a little dynasty. Um, but I think that the scene was really about Allie showing dominance. That she is like Master said, that she is not the Allie we knew from episodes 1 through 5. She is not this weak-minded, just mop of a woman. You know what I'm saying? Wet mop of a woman. And to me, what sealed it off was when Oz walked into the house and she was telling him, I'm not going anywhere. You need to go upstairs, let the grown-ups talk. But before you go, I have a gift for you. And she pulled out that Twisty the Clown comic like a trump card. Like she was playing spades and she pulled out that Joker or that Ace of Spades. Blam. Like, but Mom has a clown. Oh, it does. It's Twisty. You can't have Twisty the Clown in his comic book without the star. Twisty the star. You just go upstairs and enjoy it. I'll come tuck you in later. Like she said, I'm just gonna reiterate to y'all that y'all cannot fuck with me no more. I am a mother/woman scorned, and all y'all finna get this shit. Y'all finna get every damn thing that you deserve for what you did to me. But I also love what she told Winter, like, so you apologize for what? Trying to fucking my wife, trying to make me go crazy, trying to kill me, and was like, all of it.
Yes.
All of it. I'm like, oh my God, y'all just like enjoying yourselves. But then everything was ruined when but even still, I'm gonna say this. The one thing that I wish Allie had done when she doing all that was tell Winter, okay, you can leave now, and you are no longer near. You can no longer be nowhere near my son, because even though Winter is like, I guess Kai is like not. Winter has got to the point where she realized that Kai is not above killing her if he needs to. I would still not trust her or my son my child, because that's still Kai's sister. At the end of the day, she's still somewhat loyal to her brother. And we'll see that later on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if her brother tells her to do something, she's not going to fight. She's going to fight, but she's not going to fight too much, if you get what I'm trying to say. So I felt that, she should have been like, okay, once you can go now, I need you to get a key to my house, like for real. And Ivy, if you got another key somewhere this bitch know about, I need that key too. As a matter of fact, let me change my damn locks. How about that? You know what I'm saying? Because that's just, yeah.
I like it. I really enjoyed the scene. I guess I understand where both of you are coming from, in the sense that maybe Ivy's characterization wasn't like she always is, but I feel like, especially with the previous episode, like Ivy was like shooked, and so was Winter. And so I think that's what sort of is motivating them in this episode, and in particular in that scene. So I didn't mind it as much. I loved Allie, and sort of like being a badass bitch and confronting Ivy and Winter about what happened. And I agree. Like when she pulled out the comic, I thought that was perfect. I mean, it was just fantastic. What else? Kai running for Senate. I mean, that sort of made sense. I mean, I think he's if he survives, he's gonna eventually probably want to run for president and probably turn the presidency into some sort of kingship, like a certain someone else is, I guess, trying to do. But yeah, so that was expected. And yeah, so let's continue on. So the women arrive, and they're waiting for Kai in the basement. Beverly motherfucking Hope shows up. She's taken out of the isolation chamber, and she bitch slaps the fuck out of Winter, and attacks her, strangles her. It's amazing. And Kai, stops the fight. And so he brings a big ass pot of liquid. And he fills up all these cups. And he starts talking about loyalty. And, there's the allusion to Jim Jones. Winter has no clue who he is. She doesn't even recognize him as a rapper. And so Beverly explains, and Kai continues on talking about their mortal bodies, and we have to kill our bodies so that we can return immortal, and we can all vote for my senatorial run. And so everyone takes a cup. The women are forced to take a cup via gunpoint from Gary Longstreet. And Kai starts pointing to people to take a drink. A bro nicknamed Puss Bucket refuses to drink, and so he is shot multiple times by Gary Longstreet for his disobedience and his disloyalty. So the women drink, Beverly first, and then the other three, and then all the men, including Kai, drink as well. Kai's like, do you feel it? Do you feel it seeping into your blood? And Gary Longstreet ends up saying that he thinks he shat himself. And Kai's like, that's just your colitis, because this was just a test of loyalty. Because dead people can't vote, except for in Chicago. He needs everyone alive to vote for him to be senator. All right, let's pause right here and let's discuss this. Beverly, the ladies, the bros, Gary Longstreet, the Kool-Aid. Let's break it down. And I want to start off by saying, Beverly motherfucking Hope with that slap and that beat down.
Yep.
It was so fucking good. It was so good. I didn't think that there was going to be anything in the Kool-Aid because he just announced that he was running for senator. It just made no sense. Like,
Exactly.
no matter how nutsy cuckoo you are, there's no way that you're going to say that you're going to run for senator and you're going to kill all your people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. First off, I want to say this is why I said that's a little dynasty is good in everything, because that was like, she got that slap from Dominique Devereaux.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, no, because I was I was like y'all, like, there's nothing in the Kool-Aid. However, like, did they know that? I mean, because the one guy who didn't drink it, he didn't know that. So I don't think the bros knew that. But I don't think nobody that knew that except for Kai. And I think that was enhanced the fear, because you sat there and said you're gonna run for whatever it was, governor, senate, whatever, but you're like, it's kind of like what Winter said, like, you've lost it. You know what I'm saying? So, but bottom line, I just felt that it was nothing in the damn Kool-Aid either. I mean, but they all acted their asses off. Adina, Porter. No, I think she stole the whole time. See, especially when they realized there was nothing in there, and how she was just distraught, like, I can't take this no. That was it was funny, but it was like still unnerving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she did a great job when she realized that there was nothing. Like, she was like, thank you, Jesus, because I thought I was going to die.
Yeah, the fact that when Beverly did that, when she said that she was going to drink it first, I was like, okay, she wants to die. And then now she's so distraught that, like, she's not dead anymore. I wasn't surprised that there wasn't anything in the Kool-Aid. I think he was just trying to test, his subjects' loyalty and stuff and prove a point. But yeah, I feel like Beverly needs to come back into the show now. I think she's been punished for too long. And I think Kai knows that. Like, he knows that Beverly didn't kill him. I think he's just doing it just because he can. But yeah, the Kool-Aid thing is dumb.
All right. So Ivy and Allie start packing, but they can't look like they're packing. And Ivy asks Allie, like, but what about Winter? Like, can we take Winter? And Allie gets pissed off, like, really? And so their plan is to pick up Oz from school in an hour, and they won't look back. They're just gonna leave. And so when they arrive at the school, Oz is missing. Someone picked him up earlier, and it was their babysitter, aka Winter, along with someone else. And so Kai is with Oz in the basement, and he's entertaining him with some games. And Kai starts to talk to Oz about his father. Like, do you know who your father is? And Oz explains, every family is different. I have two mommies. And Kai is like, women can't be, your role models. You need a male figure. And so he starts initiating the Pinky Power ritual with Kai. And with Kai initiates it with Oz. And so the women arrive just before Oz can drink some Kool-Aid, and they knock it out of his hands, and Kai's like, it's just Kool-Aid, and it's even sugar-free. And Oz is like, I want to stay with Daddy. And Kai is like, this is my son. I, fresh from out of high school, my main job, my main source of income is, jerking off at the sperm bank. And this is my child. Like, can't you tell? Can't you see the resemblance? And so Allie wants to take Oz away, but Kai is like, nope, he's staying the night. And initially, Allie is really insistent on taking Oz out of the situation, but Ivy says it's okay. And then Allie comes to as well, and she tells Oz to behave himself, and they end up leaving. And outside of the house, Ivy is like, we just saved each other's lives, basically, by agreeing to this, because Kai would have killed all of us. And she's like, with Kai taking care of Oz, it's going to give us the chance to live, basically. So Ivy ends up doing some research with some of the paperwork on the sperm donorship, and it sort of coincides with Kai, the physical stuff, the intelligence and whatnot. And Allie says that Ivy was right, and she also mentions that she has a plan. And so Ivy's like, but the only plan, it could be murder. And Allie is like, yeah, it has to be murder. And so she serves Ivy a pasta dinner with a special wine that they saved for a very special occasion. And she says that they start over tonight, and Ivy agrees. And so Ivy starts to eat, and Allie serves herself some food, and she starts talking about her time in the psych ward. She was alone. She didn't get any visits from Ivy or Oz. And she's like, the first week was hell with all her phobias and whatnot. But the only way to basically knock out all of her phobias was to fill that hole with something else. And Allie chose revenge. Revenge against Ivy. And Ivy's like, ugh, you think you're cured? You're not cured. You might think that you're cured right now. You might be on a high right now. But sooner or later, you're going to convert back to that cowardly woman with all of your phobias. The clowns, the holes, the blood. And And she's like, this woman that I see right here is the woman that I've always wanted, but you're just going to revert back to who you were, and I'm not afraid of you. You don't have the guts to get revenge on me. And so Ivy starts to stand, and she's like, what did you do? Because she's feeling all wobbly. And Allie says that she put arsenic in the food and the wine. And she's like, there are only two things that she wants right now. Number one is to get Oz back, and number two, to watch you die. And so Ivy dies on the floor right in front of a very satisfied looking Allie. So let's break this all down. From who's the daddy to I killed mommy. Mark?
Bruh, when he sat there and started talking to that boy, and he was like, where's your daddy? I went back to when me and Priscilla, you were still, we first came up with that rumor. It was like, oh my God, it's true. Oh my God, it's true. Oh my God. Because, I kept telling everybody on the panel, like, we still don't know why he targeted Allie of all people. Of all the people in that town, why the hell did he target Allie? And I was like, oh my God, everything's coming full circle. That is his damn son. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But before I continue with that, when they went to that school the next day, and like I remember Allie was saying, like, when they was packing and Ivy was getting the suitcases, she was like, you're making it obvious that we are trying to escape. Don't use a suitcase because they can still have our house, bugged, or the cameras could be anywhere. And I said that is true, which is why Winter would have had to have given me, I would have changed my locks but they could have picked the locks. I'm just saying, it was just weird that, they were still even staying there. But anyway, also, that's the reason why I said Winter would no longer be anywhere near my son after all of that, because that was, Kai knew he needed Winter to get Oz out of school. That's why I'd have been like, you're no longer should be nowhere near my son. I'm going to, do everything in my power to make sure, yada, yada, yada. I'd have just been like at the park. I'd have been at that parking lot, before school let out to see if any type of fuckery going down. So, but no, seeing Kai sit there and tell their boy, and then that he was daddy, and Ali hearing it and Ivy hearing it, and I'm like, I don't know. This episode, it just elevated the episode. Like, the stakes have been rose. It's getting even better, and I don't know. Then we got my scene with Ali and Ivy, and I was sitting there screaming like a yelling, I can't pronounce that woman's name.
Yanla Van Zant.
Van Zandt screaming, yes, kill that bitch, kill her, kill that bitch. You better sit there and give her the fear of life, goddamn, because she sat there. I knew when she sat there, put that pasta in, and she didn't touch it. I said, that bitch is poisoned. She is poisoned. And then she was like, yeah, I did all of that. I did all of that. And I was just like, give me more, Allie, give me more. I want to see it. She said, I wanted two things. One was my son, and to sit here and watch you die. And I'm halfway home. I was like, this bitch is giving me too much life tonight. I love it. I love it. I've never cheered for somebody's death so hard in my entire life. Let me take that back. I've never cheered for a fictional character's life to end so much.
Yeah, let me just restart that.
Let me restart that, all right, because I don't want nobody saying like, that motherfucker's crazy as hell. But no, I was so happy when Ivy did the dust, because I'm like, you have no redeeming qualities right now. There's no way in hell. And I really honestly gotta think that Allie was gonna try to save both of them and Oz, of course, but when she sat there and said, what about Winter? Strike one. Let's just leave Oz here, because we know that if he's the son, if he's the father, then strike two. You know, just like, and no, let me take that back. That no, bringing on winter was strike two, and then the whole thing about leaving Oz at Kai's house was strike three. Or you can sit there and say there was strikes already in place. You just wait for the right moment to sit there and kill to confirm that I need to kill this bitch. So I was all here for it. Yeah, I was all here for it. Angela Bassett, you shot this shit beautifully, and I love it.
Maddie Fitz.
The whole Kai dad thing, that was a little surprising to me. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe it is true. Holy crap. What's going to happen to Allie? Because knowing that Kai is his actual father, it's going to kill her to know that this psychopath is her child's father. That was crazy. And I think Kai is just resorting to like the last things now in order to make people go crazy and like in his cult, because like nobody's really died in a while. Like they haven't done these killings and stuff in a while with the whole, clown face and the happy face and stuff like that. Like it's all gone. And maybe it's because Beverly's like locked up. Does anybody wonder where she is? Why isn't she going to work?
That's something that I wish they would have
you.
explained.
Yeah.
You.
Like I feel like the
Because
outside world's kind of like,
yeah, because she's
don't care.
she's a public figure. So
Yeah, I know.
And not just Beverly, but his brother. He has clients. He had a lot of
Yeah.
clients outside of Ali and the two people that got killed.
Mhm.
And that's why I was saying it's like
Well,
it's a
like,
stretch. Go ahead.
what about the neighbors? What about the policemen? Like,
Exactly.
all these people are dying and then nobody cares? Like, and I understand it's a TV show, but like, come on, if you're going to be 2017 realistic, be realistic. You know what I mean?
Because people are going to start, even the council, they did a suicide note. That was explained away. But that's why I was saying it took me out the episode, because I'm like, these people show up and nobody's asking any questions.
Mhm.
You know, nobody's asking like, okay, where's Beverly Pope? I'm not Beverly Pope.
Beverly Pope.
Olivia Pope's mad at me because I have not watched Scandal at all this year. Beverly Hope is gone.
Yeah, at least you didn't call her Beverly Leslie like I did once.
My God.
Oh, I remember that, yeah. But Beverly Hope is gone. Detective Samuels is dead. The person who the husband of the woman who shot at Kai Anderson, councilman candidate, shows up chopped up.
Mhm.
And it's just like nobody's asking any question. Then all of a sudden Kai wants to and you know what? I think that was the whole thing of like, this is why you need to vote in your local elections, because trust and believe, nobody's going to sit there and allow for somebody to be walking for a task force with no training, no government funded training or sanctioned group. They're just people walking around with guns in these cult-like outfits. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would have been okay with that. And I mean, it would have been you can't kill everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it just, I don't know. That's what took me out of it, because I was like, somebody got to be asking questions. And it just seems odd. I'm sorry. I'm glad you brought it up, Madison, because I was like, nobody.
Yeah, I know. And then like the whole Allie Ivy thing, when she sat down and she started eating the pasta and stuff, I was kind of like, okay, well, she didn't serve herself. That's a little odd. But then I'm like, okay, we've done all this Kool-Aid talk. They're not just going to pull out, oh, I poisoned you, or she poisoned her. And then it turns out she actually did. And I'm like, oh, that was a little like foreshadowing. Like it was kind of obvious. Like I felt like it wasn't that big of a surprise because it was so obvious that Allie wasn't eating, and like, I don't know. It was a little weird to me. It was a little, like I said, obvious that it was happening. But the way that Allie was saying stuff, like basically like, my whole power now is like my revenge against you, and I'm going to have a great time watching you die. I was like, oh, snap, Allie, what the hell? Like, you've turned into this bad bitch. it was awesome. And I don't really care that Ivy's dead. It's just whatever. Like, you don't just do that to your significant other and your family, so good for you. But yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was a little obvious.
I guess I'm a psychopath because, like, I was watching it and I immediately noticed that Allie wasn't eating.
That's
But
what I'm saying. Like, and then she poured the wine and everything.
yeah, and then she poured the wine, and because they cut away at like the right moment, like I thought she was drinking on the wine, and so
Same,
I'm
same. So did
like,
I.
I did
Yeah.
too.
yeah, and so then I'm like, I'm looking and I'm like, she just took like a little itty bitty bite of the pasta. Like this is not gonna kill her, because I kind of I suspected
Yeah.
that she had poisoned her, and I'm like,
Yeah.
she only ate like like not a handful, but like a forkful of the food, and I'm like, that's not enough. I don't think she's gonna die, because that's gonna seem a little crazy. So then when she twisted it and was like, I also spiked the wine, I was like, oh crap, that's so good. And then to watch Ivy die, like that was a painful death. I mean, it looked painful. It looked completely painful. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I hated that bitch. So I thought it was completely justified. And just the way that it was done, the fact that they had that argument, because initially it looked like they were all, happy and like, oh, I love you, and peace and love and devotion, and I'm here for you, and I'm always going to be here, and I'm so sad that we were apart, and I apologize. And then they have the fight, and it was so good, and you saw Ivy's true colors, and she's like, oh, you're a coward, you aren't going to do shit. And I'm laughing to myself because I'm like, if you only knew. And then when she stood up and you could see like the fear in her face, like, I mean, it was beautifully shot. Angela Bassett, fantastic work. I mean, it was just an incredible scene, and it was great to see Allie in her power. Now, as far as Kai and being the daddy, Kai's Maury moment. We had discussed this earlier in the season. This was before Madison was here, but there was a rumor online that Kai was the father, and it seemed to make sense because there were all these pictures of, like, obviously what Evan Peters looks like and what the child that plays Oz looks like, and so everything made sense. And it looked like it could be an interesting twist because we were like, why are they targeting them? And then obviously they explained that it was because of Ivy and all that kind of stuff. But I still wondered, are they going to use that storyline? Or are they going to do that? And it looked like they weren't. And then when they did it, part of me was buying it at this point. And I was like, that makes total sense because we thought about this earlier in the season. So I felt justified. Then, things kind of went to shit with that, which we'll discuss in a moment. But at that point of the episode, I was like, really? And so it felt kind of awesome to see, to be quite honest. So let's continue on. And while Ivy's dying, Kai is narrating to his bros the story of Jim Jones. And he's like, well, the story didn't end where I stopped earlier. Once everyone drank the Kool-Aid, Jesus himself, descended down and resurrected Jones with a kiss, and he himself then ended up resurrecting all of his followers, and everyone was happy, and everyone was enlightened and were, powerful and all that kind of stuff. And so Oz is like, I don't really know about all that because I'm here reading the Wikipedia and it says that that didn't happen, that Jim Jones committed suicide. And so Kai is like, Wikipedia is fake news, and that Kai is the ultimate truth, and he needs to listen to Kai because Kai will, lead the way, basically. And Oz is like, yeah, but, like, what about all their families? And they're still curious, and they're still trying to bury their bodies that are, lost and all this kind of stuff. And because Oz is questioning Kai and basically telling Kai in front of the bros that what he's saying isn't making any sense. Kai ends up, picking up Oz's phone, throws it on the ground, stomps on it, and tells him that doubters get no cookies. And he says that Oz needs to go on a timeout. And so the bros end up dragging Oz to wherever the hell timeout is. And Allie arrives the next morning to pick up Oz. But one of the bros tells Allie that Kai already left with him and that he has no idea where he is. And so Allie tells the bro to tell Kai that he's invited over for a man-witch dinner. And over at the fertility clinic, Allie bribes one of the technicians, nurses, whatever you call it, at the clinic for the file on who her sperm donor was. And so she ends up convincing the woman. She brings over the file, and Kai, you are not the father, according to Maury Povich. And so Allie ends up telling the woman, I need one more favor. And so we'll pause right here. And
I knew exactly what she was going to do.
Okay, good. Let's save
exactly what she's going to do.
Let's save the Allie and the fertility.
Like, okay. Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I see where you're going there.
Let's save the Allie and the fertility clinic. I probably should have paused before this, but let's save that for the next section. So let's focus on Kai and Oz. Because I, for the first time, I think, was Team Oz. And I loved it. And it was fantastic. And it was so fucking juicy. And to see Kai get called out by a little boy was so damn amazing, because you could see the bros like immediately start questioning. They were like, like, what's this boy saying? And then obviously Kai flipped the narrative and used fake news to his advantage, but Oz was letting him have it. Like, Kai didn't realize that Oz was reading him for filth, and it was fantastic. Madison, what did you think of Oz and Kai?
I thought it was pretty funny too. Like when Oz was saying, no, but that's not what this says. It was like, oh, snap. It's like, oh, he's going to die. He's going to die.
You said he's going to die.
Like, this is not good. This is not good. Because he's basically shutting down Kai's bullshit in front of all of his members. And it, on Kai's face, is almost like, shut up. Like, you're ruining it. So it was pretty funny. And like basically I am Oz. Like anytime somebody's like starting to talk about something, I'm like, but that didn't happen. Or like, yeah, but that's not true. No. Check your facts. Fake news. Come on.
I know, right, Madison? The truth is out there.
It is.
Yes. Mark, what about you? Oz and Kai.
That was my second favorite scene, because when he sat there, pulled out the receipts.
Yes, he pulled out receipts.
Ass, Kai. I'm getting that ass. I was getting that ass, because he was sitting there like, and the way he was holding the phone was like, bullshit. Like, he was so comfortable too. He was right in the middle, because I was not expecting him to be there. I thought that was a continuation of the first scene, from the beginning of the episode. And then when Kai said, Oz was like, no, that didn't happen that way. I'm like, what? Get him. But then I was like mad at them, like, shut up, because I forget you're there by yourself. Like, there's nobody there to save you, and God knows that he knows that, because if he can kill his own brother, he might sit there and stomp your ass too. I'm like, oh my God, I fear for the child's life. But it was still, and that's why I was saying earlier why I felt that scene with him talking about Jesus came down and gave Jim Jones the kiss to restore life and stuff like that. I was saying to myself, okay, that's the reason why Evan Peters was in all those roles at the beginning of the episodes, because he sees himself as these
Yeah.
fig,
He saw himself as Jesus.
and that lets you know then that he is very crazy because he's telling the story. So he's Jim Jones. He is David Koresh. He is Martin Applewhite, and then he equated himself to Jesus Christ. Like really? So it was just like somebody had to burst that bubble, and burst it they did, because yeah, I was all here for a little Oz getting that
Hmm.
ass together right quick.
Yeah, I think the part that probably hurt Kai the most was that it was a little boy that
Ooh.
was like put him in his place. Like we haven't seen someone put him in his place since Sally, Mayor Winningham's character, back at the what was it? It wasn't a council meeting. It was before he was the council person at the debate, I guess is what it was.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And also another thing. Never mind. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, I was out here for Oz getting that ass together with the receipts. So
Yeah, it was awesome. All right, so Kai has arrived for his Manwich dinner, and so they talk a little bit about Oz, and he's like, oh, he's got a mouth. He doesn't stop talking. And so Allie sort of like ends up agreeing with Kai and everything. And so Kai starts eating his sloppy Joe. He starts asking about Ivy, and Allie point blank tells him, oh, I poisoned her. She's dead. She's in the trunk. And Kai's like, well, how did it feel to
She's in the
watch?
trunk. Yeah, she's
Yes,
in the trunk.
I know.
She's just chilling in
Very
the
matter
trunk.
of fact. And Kai's like, how did it feel to watch her die? And Allie ends up telling him that, that everything he said was true. I double checked. And she shows him the file, the donor file from the clinic, and it has his photo in it. And she calls it divine intervention. That, for some reason, it was you. It was always you. And Kai's like, I spoke it into existence. I made this happen. And she's like, our son is destined for greatness, like you, his father. And we have fathered this Messiah, basically. And so together, they end up bringing Ivy to his own personal crypt in his parents' bedroom. I love the line, don't put her on the bed. The bed's for family. And so they leave Ivy on the floor, and at the end of the episode, Kai, Allie, and Oz get into a group hug, and he calls them his family. Let's break this all down. Who wants to go first? Madison?
What? Except I'm surprised that Kai is so gullible because he sees that Allie has done a full 180 and is a complete different person. Obviously, she has a plan. And I feel like Kai is actually pretty dumb for believing it. I don't know. Like I said, like so much about this episode was a little too obvious. Um, so yeah, when Allie said that, like you were the father, and when he opened up the book, he was kind of like, "What?" Like I was just bullshitting. What? Which is actually funny. And then I thought as well, what if he was actually bullshitting about going to the clinic and donating? Because what if he actually didn't do that? Then this whole thing would have been ruined and Allie would have had nothing. So I was thinking about that too. But since he went on and on it, I guess, he did. But I just feel like he's a little gullible. But now I'm wondering how Allie is going to get out of this. Because Kai is probably going to want Allie and Oz to move in and be with him all the time because this is the Messiah baby and all this stuff, right? So I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah. like, I didn't know that he was lying in the beginning. So that thing, like, threw me for a loop a little bit. Because I thought he was telling the truth. But it turns out that he was doing, I guess what he always does, is just bullshit. But, like, Allie ended up using that idea to her advantage. Because, number one, at least we think that Kai's not going to hurt the Messiah. Because he wants a Messiah. So he needs this to happen. Like, he has been craving a Messiah for several episodes now. So it would make sense that he would not harm Oz. So I don't think Kai would kill Oz. Like, I feel like because he has been, like, yearning for this Messiah for several episodes now, that that now that he thinks Oz is his child, that he's the Messiah, that he will keep Oz alive, which is what Allie wants. And now Allie's kind of like in the inner circle. She's in the inner sanctum. And I feel like she's going to end up killing Kai and that she'll end up being the final girl. At least, that's sort of my hope. And Sarah Paulson typically is the final girl. Well, even though she wasn't last season. But an actual girl was the final girl last season. But I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. I do hope that I don't know if we will, but I hope that we get some sort of flashback to Allie's time in the psych ward to, like, see her creating this plot, this scheme, this plan, because it's a pretty good plan. And if this is all of this, if all of this is what she planned in the psych ward, then, I mean, she put that mind to good use when she was committed. Because, I mean, I'm not going to lie, like, so far the plan has been pretty spectacular. And I feel like everything that she's been doing, it has been a part of the plan. Like, obviously killing Ivy, but, like, convincing Ivy that she wants to be with her, and the whole let's run away together, and I forgive you, Winter. I feel like all of that is a part of the plan. The question is she going to have a partner? Is she going to have someone that's going to help her out and do some of the dirty work that she maybe can't do because it would be too obvious, or someone that she confides in? Because I'm not going to lie, I hope it's Beverly, because I feel like Beverly is, like, done with all of it, and she wants to get her revenge on as well. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Beverly kills Winter and Ivy's the one that kills Kai. And not Ivy. Allie is the one that kills Kai. And I don't know what they're going to do with the bros, though. I feel like they're probably going to have to do a sort of cult thing where they are poisoned. I mean, I think that's the only thing that makes sense because there are so many of them now. So I guess we'll have to wait and see when it comes to that. When it comes to all of that stuff. So other than that, like, I like the ending, and I feel like Ivy. Why am I saying Ivy? I feel like Allie is playing sort of like the long con, and she's got this elaborate puzzle that she knows all the pieces to, and she's putting the puzzle together, and at the end of it, the puzzle's gonna leave her and Oz alive out of this cult, and hopefully dismantling the cult. I read this theory online where people are like, I think at the end of it, Allie's gonna be in charge of the cult. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want that. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It would make her be the queen bee.
Well, yeah, we do need a queen bee. Or maybe Allie leaves the cult and Beverly's the queen bee. At the end of the series, we see Beverly Hope is president of the United States.
Then that's another good, that's another good ending right there. I'm cool with.
Yeah. All right. So now it is time for. Hold on. Everyone went right. I can't remember now what we did right before. I know that I was talking, but both of you gave your opinions, right? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So now it is time for the MVP, the most valuable player. Which character impressed you the most and why? You all know the rules. It's very simple. You state which character impressed you throughout the episode. And if someone has already mentioned a character, you must select a different one so there are no repeats. And let's see, who shall go first? Maddie Fitz, what about you? Who's your MVP and why?
I won't take the obvious one because I think we all have the same feelings towards her. But I'm going to go with Beverly. Only because I felt that when she first drank the Kool-Aid and then seeing her afterwards, like, is so depressed and so shocked, it was like, damn, this girl will do anything to leave this cult. And she wanted to. And at first, like, she wanted to be the leader, right? And she had this amazing job. You know, her boss was killed, so she's going to be at the top now, all this stuff. And to see her actually sinking that low and wanting to get out, I feel like her courage there and was just amazing. And I really, really hope that she kills Winter, like, really badly, because I wish that she
Yes.
would have continued. So, yeah, I'm going to give my MVP to Beverly only because just seeing her like that, it was hard to watch.
Mark, what about you?
I'm not going to go for the most obvious either. I'm going to go for Oz because even though he's a kid, I believe he's a lot like his mother. Let me take that lie back. No, Oz is better than Allie sometimes because if Oz told her from gate that, something's not right, but they kept telling him that, he's night terrors and this and that. But Oz is going to be blunt with you. He's going to tell you what he thinks. He's going to, give you the receipts. I'm always about somebody that has a good set of receipts. You know what I'm saying? So when he sat there and gave Kai that face crack, I was like, you better get it, Oz. You better get it. Shit. So Oz gets my MVP this week.
All right. So both of you are douchebags because there are some really great choices left. It's like an embarrassment of riches. So I genuinely have no idea where to go. Because I think either of them would be worthy of MVP, and I think you know the two that I'm thinking about. Um, you know what? Because she did what I wanted to happen for the longest, I'm gonna give it to Allie because Allie killed Ivy. It was a spectacular scene. It was beautifully acted. I mean, it was just amazing. Like, it just honestly was an amazing scene. It was something that I was waiting for the longest. And that scene, in and of itself, like, has Allie deserving of the MVP, but because she has this plan, the whole thing with Kai, the thing with the baby daddy of it all, the poisoning, the getting close to Kai and getting into his inner sanctum. I mean, all of it is just fantastic and beautiful to watch, and seeing Sarah Paulson play a very different version of the same character. I mean, we're so used to seeing her playing different characters every season, but to see her play a completely different version of the exact same character is really nice and refreshing and remarkable to see. So definitely have to give her kudos for that. And the fact that Kai didn't even like question the manwich after like all that she says shows how much under the radar she is to him, because he's almost like thinking like this bitch won't even try killing me, of she fears me, she reveres me, like there's no way in hell. So the fact that Allie is still completely under the radar from Kai, has me giving her the MVP. And just because he was so awesome, and I feel like we all would agree, we'll give Evan Peters an honorary MVP for playing all those damn characters.
True. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, now it is the moment of truth. It's time to rate the episode. How would you rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10 clown masks? The point system is allowed, and if you found the episode exceptional, deserving of more than a 10, you may grant it the coveted Twisty the Clown mask. Maddie Fitz, you may go first.
10 out of 10. This episode was so awesome. There was a bunch of things, huge things that happened, and it was great to see characters changing, important characters dying, and just the progression of it. The only thing that really sucked was kind of how obvious things were in sometimes, but other than that, it was awesome.
All right. Mark, what about you? Now, I will confess, Mark messaged me on Facebook last night. This was immediately following the episode, and he said what his ranking would be, what his rating would be. And now it sounds like he's questioning himself. So I'm curious to see which way he goes. Mark, step up to the mic.
I am questioning myself because last night I was like, Twisty bitch. It's getting, it's the message Jeff was like, look, this motherfucking episode's getting a twist tomorrow. I'm letting you know this now. Then I laid my ass down and all those damn, inconsistencies or shit that I slightly missed probably slid into the damn, my mind. I'm like, ugh, I can't it's just the fact that, but I'm going to stick with my original thought and give it a Twisty because Angela Bassett directed this phenomenal episode that gave me eternal life. It just, the whole Allie versus Ivy thing and how Allie played the hell out of Ivy. And instead of doing it for like 5 or 6 episodes, Allie gave her a day. Allie played Ivy for a day, and Ivy had to take like months on top of months to get this to put this shit into play. And Allie only had the episode was a day or two, and probably in the timeline for her it was probably like 2 or 3 weeks because she did say she planned out the shit while she was in jail. While she was in the psych ward. But I was here for that. Then Oz making Kai's face crack, and then the fact that Evan Peters is just a powerhouse this year, and everything Ryan Murphy's throwing at him is just he's stepping up to the plate and hitting a home run. It's just like he cannot be stopped as Kai. He cannot be stopped as Evan Peters. And Angela Bassett knows who she's working with, and she just let that boy shine. And I am just all here for this episode. I'm still giving it a Twisty.
All right now. And I co-sign with one of you, and it's Mark. I have to give this a Twisty the Clown mask. I thought it was another exceptional episode. Also, kudos to Angela Bassett. She recorded one of my favorite episodes from last season as well, which was episode 6, which is the episode that flipped the script on Roanoke. And this was another phenomenal episode that she directed. It was just beautifully shot. The acting was really good. The writing, obviously, was great. I know that we have some qualms about it as far as the greater repercussions of everything that's going on. I hope that that's addressed in a future episode. I'm kind of cool with it for now, just because I'm really engrossed in the story. But this episode, just fantastic. Obviously, Ivy died, so that's one reason to celebrate. But on top of that, just really great moments between the characters, like Allie really stepping up, confronting Winter and Ivy, Oz confronting Kai, Beverly motherfucking Hope slapping the shit out of Winter. It was just some really, really great moments, and as we already mentioned, some tour de force acting in particular from Allie and Kai, or I should say Sarah Paulson and Evan Peters and all the roles that he played. So a Twisty the Clown mask from me. But it sounds like we're all on the same wavelength. A 10 and a Twisty the Clown, there isn't that much difference there. It means that it was a pretty dope-ass episode. So, on that note, join us next time for a brand new installment of Are You Afraid Cult? Once again, here's our announcer to remind you on how you can interact with us.
Follow Poppy Chula Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Poppy Chula Radio. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@poppychularadio.com. Are you interested in joining the Poppy Chula Radio team as an on-air personality? Email talent@poppychularadio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Poppy Chula Radio programs by visiting poppychularadio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through Apple Podcasts and Google Play. Just search for Are You Afraid, Cult, and subscribe.
Thanks, announcer. My co-hosts, please wish the listeners a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in. Download new episodes of Are You Afraid Cult every Thursday via Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and the Poppy Chulo Radio archives. Good night.